Okay, it's recording.
Okay, guys,
All right, cool.
we are live. We are on.
Fuck.
We are recording.
Yeah.
We'll explain everything in a minute.
We just lost. Fuck yeah,
Mm.
you will explain that. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Unlearn the Boo.
It's all right.
Okay. Oh my goodness, bro.
I'll explain.
Ah, fuck.
I'll explain.
All right, welcome. I'll hand it over to Albert. I'm with Albert today. He's gonna talk to you for the next few minutes. I don't know. Albert, over to you, bro.
Hey, guys, welcome back. Funny story. We had a golden 50 minutes of content ready and prepared for you on the topic about the power of choice. And sadly, the recording button didn't work for whatever reason. I saw when we pressed it and it didn't work. So just a little technical Thanksgiving gift for you guys. So here we are.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it made my point beautifully, but I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah, we have to. We have to go there. Can't
all
wait.
right, all right. So, I'm really happy to be here. I heard that Oliver has a new audience. So, I just want to say to those of us that are new to the show, welcome to Unlearning the Bullshit. My name is Albert Walker. You can just call me Albert. I have training in neuroscience and neuropsychology. I'm currently a high school teacher, and I'm always happy to be here, to be invited on the show, and to share whatever I can. So we're gonna spend a few minutes addressing the power of choice.
Yeah, he's about to cook me now. I promise you.
No.
But I'll fight back. Yeah, and it's probably one of the few topics where we actually don't agree. You know, some of the topics we agree, but you know the disagreement maybe is just maybe one or two things. But with this one, it's like it's the opposite.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So you guys actually have a thorough debate to listen to this time and it's a shame that we lost that 50 minutes.
Sure.
But
Was it 15 or 50?
50.
Fuck.
Yeah, because I was timing it, guys. You know, I thought it was golden, but that's perfectly okay. It actually strengthened my side of the debate a little bit.
Nah, mine.
We'll see.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, you guys can always reach out to us and on the timelines and stuff. Right, Oliver?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Let's get into it.
All right. So, because of time, we got to get right to it. I did revise a little bit about what anti-Semitism is and what it is not, and the use of it in terms of media and stuff, because... So, just before we get to the power of choice, there's something I need to clarify about something I said the last time, which was that a friend of mine at work spoke about this talking phrase, media or mainstream media, being an anti-Semitic term. And anti-Semite or anti-Semitic means that someone is against Jews and hates Jewish people. So it's what Nazis are described as. They're described as anti-Semites. So some people, especially in the black community, are also anti-Semitic. But we're not very familiar with this because we don't know these big, silly words. But I said it the last time when I was discussing information, misinformation, disinformation, and how I didn't trust the media, quote unquote, the media. And my coworker was letting me know that that talking point sounds like a right wing American talking point that not that certain people use, um, to say that the Jews own everything. But never mind. It's all good. Oliver and I hashed that out pretty quickly before moving on to the juicy
Yeah,
topic.
because I said I don't agree with that. I don't even know what anti
Yeah,
it
exactly.
means, but I still agree with you, and I still have the same points. The thing is, I think as people we should stop using like certain like shaming language. Not that he was, but I mean
Yeah.
labels on things simply because someone doesn't agree with you. So someone cannot say you are this because you don't agree with this or because you're saying this. No, I'm just saying this is what I think. This is how I see it. Whether you're going to put a label on the way I think, that's on you. It's not my
Right.
problem. That's, of course, you're gonna have to deal with it. So it's everywhere. Like if you're not going with the masses, there are always shaming languages that are there. I mean, shaming words that are there to make you feel like you're wrong. But that's exactly what you think. That's where you stand, and you believe that to be true. I think as human beings, we should just agree to disagree without calling each other, titles or this or that, and that's where like that's why there's this fuss about this phobia, that phobia. You hate this. No, I don't hate that. I just have an opinion that doesn't go with what you believe. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just because my biggest thing was I didn't even know that the Jews own, but I still don't agree with the media. So what am
Yeah.
I?
Right.
How can I hate something that I don't know?
Right. Exactly. Well, they call that ignorance, and there's all sorts. I didn't want to. We don't want to spend too much time on that, but that was just like not a redaction, but like me addressing what could have been a misunderstanding in that episode. I thought it was a very good episode. I got great feedback from friends, and good dialogue, and people did get back to me about misinformation, disinformation, and stuff related to the vaccines and COVID-19. So
Yeah.
all that is there, but it's a good segue, I think, slightly into what we really wanted to discuss today, and what we hope to discuss in the future. So today we want to talk about the power of choice and how powerful a choice is, but we also in the future would like to discuss transgenderism and the pride community. We want to get into that and to see, well, how much of that is a choice and not a choice? Because that seems to be a very mainstream, if I may say that, debate. And just to be clear, I'm not anti-Semitic, and I'm not transphobic. I'm not any of those things. It's not in the least way that I know. But if I am, I'm more than happy to. If I've used poor language, I'm more than happy to address it, to own it, and to move forward. That is a choice of mine, and I'd like to
That's a
exact that.
circumstance of yours.
So let's help people get filled into what this is all about. So the choice, my path today has taken me to how powerful a choice is. So what is choice? And a simple search on Google will tell you that a choice is an act of selecting or making a decision when faced with two or more possibilities. It also says, in quotation, which is interesting, the choice between good and evil. But I won't get into that. Maybe. And another word that I wanted to look up today was circumstance. And my basic definition of circumstance within the context of this conversation is really things that you cannot control. So a choice apparently is a decision that you can control. My apologies. Is a decision that you can control, but a circumstance is a thing that you have far less control, if any, control over. So Google defines it as a fact or a condition connected with or is relevant to an event or action. A fact or a condition connected with or relevant to an event or action. And I also went over a little bit about the history of this in terms of the philosophical premises behind the power of choice. So there are these two big ideas out there. One is determinism, and the other is free will. And determinism is a claim that everything is already determined, meaning that things are already set in stone. So no matter what you do, the circumstances will pretty much dictate that result. So if somebody's set to die on December 25th, Christmas Day, then that's it. Free will has an opposing kind of view where one has a choice. So one can choose how they intend to live their lives, and their choices can shape their future. It can change their future. It can change the outcome of things. And so I was sharing that my position lately has gone from one end to the other. Not that this has to be binary, but if I had to choose between circumstance and choice, or if I had to answer this question, how would my answer play out? And the question is the person we are today the result of our choices or circumstances? Is the person we are today, you are today, I am today, the result of our choices or circumstances? If you asked me this a few months ago, I would have said choices without question. Today, I say circumstance. Some people say both. Some people say, very few people say neither. And I asked Oliver this question. I asked him, Oliver, is the person you are today the result of your choice or circumstance? And Mr. Oliver, what did you say?
I said, welcome to being the black sheep of the family, because your father, your brother, and myself, we freaking agree, bro. What's the problem with you? Nah, of course you're entitled. You're not entitled. No one is entitled to anything. But you have every right to, to think that it's circumstances. For me, it's choices, man. It's choices. I think my choices have led me to where I am now. And some of them were terrible choices. Mm-hmm. Some of them were good choices. Mm-hmm. But I would be lying if I say my choices were not limited by my circumstances. But at the end of the day, I still had to make choices. Because if I say it's a circumstance that led me to where I am, a circumstance can present different choices. Right? Mm-hmm. So, and then I'm stuck there. I've got a circumstance. What am I going to do? I still need to make a choice so that I can move forward. So I think I do acknowledge circumstances. That's why earlier when I was talking about, people who are disadvantaged, I do understand their circumstances. And sometimes the choices that are available are very limited, and sometimes the choices that are there, they're all negative. They all lead to negative results. So it's like you're trying to figure out which one has the lesser risk. Mm-hmm. But you still need to make a choice. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, in short, I would say my life is based on my choices and my decisions. And I'm responsible because I have full control over my choices in my life. So mm-hmm. I need to have 100% accountability for the same shit. Like, I can't blame it on circumstances. Because the thing is, I have to live in reality. I can't escape circumstances. If they present themselves, they are there. I can't cry about it. I can't complain about it because it's there. Even if I say I don't want it or it's not supposed to be like that, that's the reality. So I can't afford, because I think I was telling you before that I've decided that in my whole life, going forward, I need to live in reality. I can't afford to live in a Disney fairy tale because I'll be hoping things were different, but they are not. Mm-hmm. So I need to deal with what I have make a choice, move forward or move backwards. It depends with the circumstances that are presented to me. So I strongly believe that my choices have led me to where I am, but I don't take away from the circumstances. Circumstances are still there, but for me moving forward, it's definitely my choices.
Yep, and I appreciated his answer. It was honest, and it was something that both my brother and my father agreed with for different reasons. But they essentially think you are the person you are today because of your choices and not because of circumstance. I can tell you flat out that at this time today, Saturday, November 13th, 2021, I disagree.
Now I have to edit this shit, nigga. Now. Because you told them when we recorded. Nah, it's cool. We'll definitely edit it before. We'll upload it before Tuesday. By Tuesday, this thing will be up.
Oh my God.
So it's cool.
What a poor choice I made. Or that's just part of the circumstance.
No, you see, it's a circumstance to me. It's a choice to you. Because now I have a choice to make.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have made a poor choice not to press the record button. I think you would have. I think that's just a terrible circumstance. But we digress. We'll get back to that in a minute.
Okay. I'm ready for you, bro. What you talking about? That's why you're the black sheep of the family. I need to call dad and brother now.
You need to call him right now and say,
Tell them,
look,
nah.
man, he's
This
wrong.
boy is lost, man. He needs some milk.
Oh, man, we had fun. It was a good 50 minutes. I'm sorry you guys can't hear it, but the gist of it, was that we definitely disagreed on that. And I can explain my reasons for why I believe the person I am today is the product of my circumstances or of circumstances and not entirely from my choices. The claim is that the person you are today is the result of your choices, meaning you have 100%, not a little bit less, 100% control over where you are today, given your choices. And I think that's a false claim. I think it is realistic, it is accepting, it is honest to say that circumstances are quite powerful. In fact, circumstances dictate choices. And I went forward with asking some bigger questions. So the first one I asked Oliver and my father and my brother was, I don't remember making a choice to live or to be born. But did I? Did you? I didn't choose to be black, to be Jamaican, to be a male, to have the health I do, to be born where I was. I wasn't born in Buckingham Palace. I didn't even choose to be a human. These are circumstances that I inherited, and Oliver pointed out that all of us have to contend with. We have zero control over that. But you make choices based off of that. And then I went further and I said, I didn't choose to choose. It seems like that's been forced upon me. You know, like there's a force telling me to choose, because even if I don't make a decision, if I choose not to choose, that is a choice. And I went further and I said, by the logic being presented to say we are 100% the sum of our choices, 100%, just to be very clear, no less. If you are 100% the sum of your choices, you are telling a cancer patient it's your fault. You're telling Jeff Bezos you are 290 billion times better at decision making. Your choices are 200 billion times better than ours because your net worth is that much. Your company, your ability to run a company is 2 trillion times better than ours. because your company is worth $2 trillion. Elon Musk is now, to date, the richest person on the planet. His net worth went up and down a little bit, but at his highest, it was at 340 billion. You're telling him he's a much better decision maker than we are. And you're telling anyone that's ever experienced pain today, any pain, and it doesn't have to be good or bad, I'm just talking about pain. Any pain, any hardship, anything that they didn't really desire, any result that they probably didn't plan for but that happened, is still your fault. That's the logic. And where he and I differed was like where that choice starts. So he was mentioning choices starting in specific moments, specific minute moments, where I was pointing out, well, no, probably if it were up to me to decide, I would probably be looking at the very beginning. And he was saying, well, the beginning doesn't matter. It's where you end that matters. And that's where we disagree, in that I don't think the beginning doesn't matter, nor do I think the end is 100% determined by choice.
You just triggered me. But anyway, that's cool. Now, let's get back to the pressing issues. Here's my thing. The reason why we are where we are now is because of choices. Some of the choices, not yours. Some of the choices, yours. When you were still young, from the time you were born, or you being a sperm, it was a choice. It was someone else's choice who said, you know what? I'm going to bust this nut. And you were part of the million, whatever. And then, some circumstances, we do not have control over them. So the things that you were mentioning, like a cancer patient, is their choice. That's a circumstance. Jeff Bezos, or whoever, it's not that he's smarter than anyone. It's because there were certain circumstances and they made choices. Because I can give you $1 million right now. Mm-hmm. But it's your choice to invest or to spend it. Mm-hmm. So circumstances presented themselves. Circumstances can be positive, can be negative. But what you choose to do with the circumstance, the choice that you make is going to determine your outcome. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense.
It makes sense.
I'm not saying circumstances are not there. Circumstances are there. Some of them are bad. Some of them are good. No, there are people who had a rough life, terrible circumstances. But some chose to pick up the pieces and move forward. Some chose to cry about it. So at the end of the day, circumstances, we can't run away from circumstances, and we can't really control our circumstances. But in terms of how we move forward, we do have a choice. It's either you stay there and you complain about your circumstances, or you pick yourself up and you choose to move forward. So I'm not saying circumstances are not there, but the thing is, circumstances, they don't decide what next. They decide what's now. Okay, the circumstance is my dog just. Let me.
Yeah.
The circumstance is maybe I don't know. I'm broke, or I lost my money. But what am I going to do about it? I still need to make a choice. So circumstances will always be there. They will always present themselves. Sometimes some circumstances are terrible. Some circumstances are great. And in life, we all have that. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're white, black, yellow, pink, cream. Right. We are faced with different circumstances. But for every circumstance that we're faced with, it gives us a choice. So that's why I'm saying I'm here because of my choices, because there are different circumstances where I would have chosen something different, and I wouldn't be where I am now.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I follow you.
Okay. Right now, we just lost
50 minutes.
50 minutes of this conversation. We had a choice to pack our bags Me packing my bags and leaving, and then no content to upload this week, or
Continue.
record again,
Mm-hmm.
and upload on Tuesday.
Well done.
So the circumstances, I will never laugh at anyone's circumstances, but you still need to make a choice. You might be faced with, the most terrible circumstances in your life. You might be going through the worst. That's regrettable, but that's life. Like life is a game of winners and losers. It's just how it is. We might want it to be different, but it's not. We might pray and wish if things were different, but that's how it is. But however, when you're faced with whatever, and sometimes the choices that you have to make are actually trying to figure out which one is the least painful. You get what I'm saying? For example, when they say someone is on a life support machine, they ask you, should we pull the plug or should we continue? It's your choice. But you see, there's no better way. Either way, it's still painful. You get what I'm saying? If you pull the plug, you lose the person. If you continue, there's no guarantee that that person is going to be alive, and you still need to incur some costs. So that's a terrible circumstance that you are faced with. But there's still a choice that you need to make. That's what I believe. Sometimes it's positive circumstances, sometimes it's negative. But then that's just how we can wish if things were different. Like right now, I'd wish if I had $10 billion. I wish if I was, in Elon Musk's position, but I'm not. But my circumstances right now, I still need to make choices to move either up, down, or stay the same. I can't blame anyone. Because the thing is, if I try to blame my circumstances, and then what? Because there's someone who was in the same predicament or in the same situation that I am in or that I was in, but they managed to make it because of the choices that they made. So I still believe we are here because of our choices. Done.
Well said. Well said. You should chip on an applause button for that.
Oh, really? Where is it?
It's coming, folks. It's coming. But, I think at the end of this conversation, we will agree to disagree. I think you made some valid points. I hope I made some as well.
Of course.
And that we can leave this for the audience members to decide, how they wanna proceed with that or what they think. But I did want to follow through with this, with regards to gender and sex and so on. But before I do that, I do want to say a couple things. I'm glad that we can have civil conversations and that you don't approach a conversation trying to be correct per se, but you approach a conversation with the same approach that I do, which is to understand.
Yeah.
So you're not coming in saying I'm right, you're wrong. I mean, you make jokes here and there about the black people. I can take that. But like on a serious level, you listen and you provide your insight. And are we opinionated? Perhaps, but we at least try to understand each other, and I quite respect that. Because to come into a conversation or a dialogue where you want to understand and be understood is such a rare thing nowadays, where, as you said, people they think they're correct and they think you're not, and they kind of shove things down your throat. And so that much I can say, I'm really appreciative of.
Yeah. And for those who might take it the wrong way, when I mentioned black sheep, it's because me and Albert, we call each other my mother, my brother from another mother. So his dad, his brother, and me, we all agreed, and I have never met them.
Yeah.
So it was just that he's the one who did not agree. It wasn't like there's something wrong with him.
No.
It's based on the conversation that we're having.
Yeah. There's nobody that needs to be offended.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to be offended for me for that. I hope. Yeah. Hopefully we're making a much bigger deal than anybody else will about it. Because we don't want to get canceled over stupid stuff. But here's what I'll say in response. The examples that you provided earlier are fair examples, very specific examples to specific situations. But I think had we or had one had the choice to determine 100% of their future, I think things would look very different.
Mm.
So when I say 100%, that means it downplays the power of a choice. So like it looks like a choice is just a piece, very small piece of circumstance and not the other way around. My therapist has told me that it's both. It's neither, it's not just one or the other. And she's probably right. We could be wrong in trying to decide one or the other, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
I think I don't think one can exist without the other.
Right, right,
But
right.
when the thing is, you ask me what the reason why I am here today. It's
Mm-hmm.
both, but I would say choice is because circumstances provided me the option to make a choice. So one cannot exist without the other.
I agree.
But for me to say it's because of both, in what sense? In the sense that the circumstances presented themselves and then I made a choice. Then, yeah, I would agree with her.
Right.
But one cannot exist without the other.
Fair.
Because whatever circumstances that you were faced with, you still had to make a choice.
Right.
And for you to make a choice, you need that circumstance or whatever situation that you are in to make a choice. You need those options, and those options come from your circumstances. So,
Yes. Yes.
in that sense, but if I'm to choose one, I would say my choice is because the circumstances that don't choose how I'm going to move forward.
Yeah, well, that's where we disagree. In that, I do believe the circumstances heavily dictate
How?
how one moves forward.
How? Because after the circumstance, remember, you're supposed to make a choice,
Right, and
which might not be the best choice. You might not have the best options, but if something happens in this room right now, a circumstance, a terrible circumstance, are we just going to sit here?
no,
That's
no,
why that's why I was saying it's first the circumstance, and then you make a choice as to how you want to move forward.
so if we're doing it on a case by case basis, yes, a choice can change the outcome given each specific circumstance. But I can't help but look at a much bigger picture than that. And maybe that's my issue. Maybe that's where my difference really is. My dad also said that I tend to sound, I think I said this before, but I'll just, he said that I may sound like a fatalist, which is like someone who's playing the victim or saying, oh, life happens to me. No matter what I do, I'm going to die anyway. So why bother? And that's a fatalist, that person that lies down in bed and says, woo fucking who,
Yeah.
and all that. And that's not me. That's not what you're looking at. That's not what y'all are listening to. It's me accepting that and almost surrendering control, because a big thing in the West, that's what I was getting at earlier. Yeah, a big thing in the West is that you can control so much, perhaps more than you really can. It's a very narcissistic position, if you ask me. It's just very opinionated to say, but like, where Americans believe truly, if you want it bad enough, you can go get it. Like if you really want it. And are they wrong? Not completely, but there's there's some things that you really don't have control over, and that's where I would humbly say circumstance is what determines it. So I probably wouldn't have dreadlocks if I were of Chinese descent, and I probably wouldn't decide to grow dreadlocks if I were of Chinese descent. But if I really had the choices, like we can go to specific examples all day, because that would take a bit, but like on a big picture level, 30,000 feet above sea level, I don't think I would choose to be human, nor would I choose to have any pain. If I had that kind of choice, I would skip a lot of time right to the result that I wanted. and just gotten it. There wouldn't be any journey, any fluff, any this and that. And I would, in other words, if I wanted to be, I would just be. Period. And one can be whatever they want to be in their minds, but to get to let that happen physically in reality is what I'm speaking about. And I'm not sure one has that.
Okay, let's take it back.
Okay.
The things that you're saying you wouldn't have chosen to be human. Why would you say that? It's because you have experienced that human experience for you to say this, nah. I wish if it was something completely different, because you have experienced that human experience. So if you had not experienced that human experience, probably you wouldn't be saying this.
Sure.
Or if most of your circumstances were positive, you wouldn't be saying that, I
Sure.
wish if I was human. But it's because maybe the circumstances that presented themselves to you were not always the best. And those ones are the ones that you're focusing on, but you're also forgetting of other circumstances that were positive, where you would have chosen to be human, of which part of being a human being, that's the whole point. It applies to every human being. To every fucking human being. There are ups and downs, whether you like it or you don't.
Right.
And you can't change it. It's impossible.
Well, but that's that to me. Sorry to interrupt you. You just said what is my point, right?
I understand why you might say that. I completely understand. That's why I said circumstances are not always positive. The negative ones. But you still need to make a choice. Because if you just sit because you're faced... the reason why I was saying things happen for everyone is because the problems that you might have had and the problems that I might have had might not be the same.
Mm-mm.
But we still faced, some
Sure.
problems. But did we sit and wait for life to happen?
No.
We made choices. I'm sure you used to work somewhere else before you...
Work where I do now.
Yeah, and you were probably not happy.
Mm-mm.
Just imagine if you had stayed and said, oh, these are my circumstances, I'm just going to stay here. But you were like, I'm in this fucking situation, I'm not happy here. You would have chosen to stay, but you chose to leave.
But not
But-
to. All right.
Okay.
Not to. I'm sorry to interrupt. What I would say is, I wouldn't have gotten myself in the undesired position before had I had the choice that you speak of.
When it comes to circumstances, that's why I'm saying everyone has circumstances.
Okay.
You would not have had the choice if the circumstances were different. But then the circumstances pushed you into making that choice of saying, you know what? This circumstance has presented itself. I need to do something. And then you have to make a decision, and then you had to go on to the next thing that you had to do. So that's why I was saying they can't exist without the other. One cannot
Right.
exist without the other.
Right.
But the end goal is determined by what you choose.
Okay. Well, all right. I think we can agree. The common ground that we have is that one can't exist without the other. The where we differ is what determines the result, and that's okay.
And I do get where you're coming from, because you don't choose the circumstances. That's where
No.
that's where the issue is for you. Is because the circumstances that
Right.
present themselves to you, you did not choose them. So you're
Right.
saying it's not because of my choice, it's because of my circumstance.
Correct.
So in that part, I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm saying at the end is
It's a choice.
whether the circumstance you didn't choose it or you chose it. The fact, the bottom line is, you still need to make a choice from that terrible circumstance that you don't like, for you to move forward. Because a circumstance that you did not choose will come to you. It's still not a decision. It's just a circumstance.
I hear you. And like I said,
I think it's a matter of the egg and the chicken here.
Yeah. Exactly right. Which one came first, the egg or
Yeah.
the chicken? And that's always an ongoing, a never-ending debate.
I think in the Bible they say, Lord, help me to accept the things that I cannot change, and change the things that I can,
I
something
forgot-
like that.
I forgot what
Yeah.
I said. We need
Because
to go back to
circumstances, unfortunately, we can't change
church. We
them.
can't change it.
So we can only work on the choices that we make,
Right.
depending on the circumstances that we are in. Sometimes the circumstances that are there, they give you less choices, man. So that's why you see that someone is a billionaire and someone is poor. because they didn't have the same opportunities. So I think life is driven by opportunities, but opportunities might present themselves and you still won't choose to take them.
Yeah, I think what I'll say is, again, and we can go on and on and on.
Yeah, you're right.
But we will agree to disagree on that. But what I would say in closing is that I do love being a human being. And I appreciate Albert. I love who he is. If I could, I would choose to be him again. But I have come to a point in my, perhaps my spiritual
Journey.
journey or growth that says, well, my goodness, I have far less control than I thought. And I thought it was an enlightening moment in that if things don't go as I had planned, that I can forgive myself, that I can be kind to myself, that I can be compassionate to myself, and that others can perhaps exercise the same thing. So like if we fail to push the record button, okay, that's it. Like I've made so many plans that I thought I would have achieved at this point in my life that haven't happened, and I want to give myself some credit and say, you know what? If I had the control I thought I had, it would have more than happened. Just because of the force and the effort that I've put in before in so many other instances, But on a bigger level, yeah, we agree that one can't exist without the other. But we don't agree necessarily with the result, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But with regards to being a human being, I think a topic that I'm really interested in, and I'd like to invite this openly for audience members to call us and contact us or send us an email. We'll share the email. I think, and there's a website, unlearnable.com, where we would like to speak to any member of the Pride LGBTQIA plus community. I believe there are 2 more letters added to that, so I may have missed them. Forgive me. Ironically, I've also been called, or I've been told, that I sound like a transphobe. Just for the record, I am not, as far as I know, a transphobe. I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm not any of those things. You see the canceling thing.
Yeah, it's not for us.
So here we go. But I can tell you, I think Oliver feels the same way. We want to learn.
Yeah, of course.
We want to learn from people. We want to learn from you, our humans, and members of the LGBTQ plus community are human beings, as human as anyone else. If not, I would argue more. And I want to kind of dispel this myth or this ongoing debate about how much of their lived experience is a choice and how much of it is a circumstance or just nature, like nature and nurture. And that gets into heavy psychological, philosophical debate, But we'd like to hear from you, and we'd like to ask questions in a non-offensive, in a safe setting, a safe place for you to inform us, and so that we can learn from you, and hopefully you can learn from us in that, well, all right, we understand this is your position, but we have questions.
Yeah.
And none of these questions are meant to be rude, offensive.
Genuine question.
No. Yeah. So, and it's not to use you in a study without your consent or any of those things. It's to gain understanding, because I think part of the human experience is to understand not just the power of choice, but what really is within our power or not. So I have a friend in mind that I'd like to invite in the show, but if this person is not available, you're more than welcome to contact us, and if you'll have, and then we'll have this going. There's topics in psychology within the within the DSM-5, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, 5th edition, which is like the Bible of psychological and psychiatric disorders. called gender dysphoria.
Mm.
And gender dysphoria has this definition. You can look it up, but it essentially means that one thinks that they're born in the wrong body. And so, yes, if we could speak to someone within the transgender
Yeah,
community,
that'll be cool. That'll be cool. At
that
least
would-
we don't have to make assumptions, and because most of the times people will argue
Mm-hmm.
without facts, and you don't really understand what the experiences that those people go through. So at least if you can have a civil conversation without the accusations of you're transphobic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just someone who I actually like this. I think it's a she. I think is Monroe, whatever.
Marilyn
Exactly.
Monroe.
Is she in the LGBT?
No,
No, man. There's one with
no,
Monroe.
who
I
you
once saw her on
describe her to me.
the Breakfast Club. I think
Yes.
Boosie was there. What's her name? Flame something.
Flame.
Mm.
Not familiar.
Yeah, she's a celebrity, I think,
Okay.
and she doesn't take offense. Like Boosie was there, making fun of other,
Yeah.
and she was actually laughing and saying you were crazy and stuff like that, and trying to educate him. I think that'll get people to listen more than to just start, calling people names. It'll make them feel like, I don't know. I think it requires a decent conversation where people are listening to understand and not listening to respond.
Yeah.
Same for us too.
Same for us.
Where
we have to learn.
we have to listen, not just
listen
to
to them.
respond. You get what I'm saying?
Amen.
So I think that's the environment that will be perfect for that. And for me, to be honest, even if it's off air, like I'm now at a point where I just want to have a conversation, because I think we in this world now, it's been a topic that has been burning for so long, and for me to just live under a rock and assume that I know everything, where there's someone who's living that experience and then they can tell me what's going on, like how they feel, and answer my questions, it's because it's something that I haven't lived that experience. So yeah, that'll be cool to have someone. So if there's anyone who wants to reach out, the email address is contact@unlearnthebull.com, or you can visit any social media pages, and then the handle is @unlearnthebull. And to close on the discussion that we were having, I don't really think we disagree that much. To be honest, I think
Yeah.
we're pretty much on the same page. It's just that maybe the technicalities of what comes first, or why are you, like, the reason why you're now here in your life is because of what, but they both do exist in our lives. And what I always say, like I said before, I strongly believe that with authority comes responsibility. So for all the things that you have the power, the choices that you make, you also have to be accountable for what comes with it. You can't have the authority to make a choice and absolve yourself of the responsibility that comes after you make that choice. So I think that's what I believe. I'm not saying that's what I believe. And sometimes the choices that we have to make are very difficult, because we are faced with difficult circumstances, man. Life or death circumstances where, sometimes you don't even know what to do yourself, but you still need to make a choice. So I think, yeah, that's where we end for today. I don't know if you still have anything else.
I did. I had one last thing to say, but obviously, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. Always a pleasure. We lost some valuable content, but I think we did really, really well. And
Yeah, we tried.
we made a good choice in spite of the circumstance. But I wanted to say that I heard this saying once about about choice and how powerful it really is, and like authority as well as responsibility. So in my opinion, I think with my current understanding of choice and circumstance, I think that our choices don't have as much authority as we would like. But in that sense, it's not me giving up responsibility or giving up duty, giving up ownership of my choices, but instead just being forgiving of myself and saying, I can't shape my outcome as well as I thought I could. I don't have the control I thought I did. And that's okay. It's a very liberating thing. And that much I can say at the moment. And perhaps my position on that will change later on. It's not that I'm irresponsible or no. I'm a go-getter.
I don't think so. I think what you're mentioning is the outcome when it comes to the circumstances. You don't control that. I think I would like to think maybe we're interpreting it in different ways, but I think you're saying I'm not in control of the circumstances, and trust me, you're not.
Right.
Circumstances, you don't choose to be born without a leg. That happens. It's a circumstance. But whether you're gonna have the fake one or you're gonna use, that's a choice. You get. So that's why I was saying now, whether I'm seeing a fake leg or you're using, it is a result of the choice that you decided to make out of your circumstances. So I think I agree with you on the fact that you have to forgive yourself because you're not in charge of the circumstances sometimes.
Right.
But what you do after those circumstances, whether you choose to forgive yourself or you choose to punish yourself, that's up to you.
I follow.
Whether you choose to cry about it or try something different, it's up to you. But I agree with you that, sometimes we were handed the terrible, deal, but we can't control that. I wish if we could, I'm sure everyone would wish if they could control that.
Things would be very different.
Yeah. So I think life is a mix of choices and circumstances.
Amen.
So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me. That's really all I have to say today. I really appreciated you allowing me to share that with you guys, and I look forward to the comments and stuff. And thank you for allowing us, for giving us your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sisia Datya.
Yeah, and from me, I also appreciate your time, bro. And I'm sorry, I don't know what happened with the record button that time.
Okay.
Is it recording? Oh, yeah, it is. That would be crazy. That would be stupid crazy, bro.
That would be circumstantial.
Nah. So thanks for your time. I need to, hit the road. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be here soon. We will try and be consistent. So yeah, it is what it is.
I think people appreciate us whenever we do come, and that's cool.
That's true. So yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We'll see you on the next episode.